The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Go to the church, though.
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
It is the 27th day of November 2025. We are taking this month and the full 2025 year, and we are taking it steadily, almost coming to the end of this year. We thank God that you and I are still alive, and this is the Mighty Drive, a show here at the Alternative Dig Talk TV. We always come in here first to give you the mighty global news updates, a moment where we take you through the news that are hitting headlines in our country, Uganda, even outside. Now, following breaking news coming in from Guinea Bissau, we have learned that the military coup has happened over there. The military has taken over the entire power in the country following the elections that took place, and now the results were supposed to be released today. Now the military has taken over. That story and many others coming in the mighty global news update. Thank you so much for being part of us, and we believe you're having a good day over there. If the things are not going on well for you, our prayers still continue to be that may everything that you wish to achieve in this remaining month to end 2025 come to pass, and you achieve that. That's our prayer, and a prayer that we always wish every viewer who watches us every day. And if you are joining us for the very first time, please consider subscribing and joining this mighty platform that is trusted by millions of people, because we are non-partisan. We are reliable. The information we give here is reliable, and you can rely on our information to make an informed decision. And of course, we always involve you in our discussions. That's why we ask you to be part of the conversation by submitting in your questions through the comment section, and even submitting on the topics we always talk about. Here we prioritize matters of national importance, and if that is something you love, please don't hesitate. Tap just the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, such that whenever we go online, you're the first to know. Now, starting the mighty global news updates, I'm Kenneth Rweminemberwatsimbirao. First story, the Electoral Commission yesterday held a press conference talking about the 2026 general elections and the news that has been coming out of these elections. Of course, they were referring to some incidents where the police and the other security agencies have been having hard time with some of the presidential candidates. Now, the Electoral Commission, through the chairperson, Justice Simon Mgenyi Byabakama, they said that some political candidates, especially the presidential candidates, have been misusing their rights they were given by the Electoral Commission, now conduct campaigns saying that some candidates are carrying out processions, something the Electoral Commission says was never accepted, and the Electoral Commission still insists that up to now processions are not accepted, that these politicians or these political candidates should avoid processions because they disrupt the freedoms of other road users, that these processions disrupt everything, disrupt trade, and sometimes lead to accidents on the road. And they are now calling upon all political candidates to avoid processions, saying that they will not tolerate any form of processions, and that's why even some candidates have been having hard time with the police. And this comes at a point where some opposition figures are saying that the Electoral Commission has been silent. We saw the leader of the flag bearer, the presidential flag bearer for the National Unity Platform, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, coming out and saying that the Electoral Commission has been quiet while what they said, the atrocities are being committed by the government, especially now the police arresting their supporters. And now the chairperson of the Electoral Commission said that it is very now hard for the Electoral Commission to defend some politicians because of carrying out processions which are not allowed. And now the police says that the camp of Honorable Kyagulanyi has been violating these guidelines, carrying out processions, and now that the police is not ready to tolerate that. Also, Justice Simon Mgengi talked about the issue of campaigns, saying that some, especially the presidential candidates, have been campaigning alongside the roads, carrying out campaigns alongside the roads, something that it was not allowed, and among the guidelines that these people were given, they were asked not to carry out such. Regarding the issue of protest vote, where, especially in the NUP camp, where the voters were asked that after voting they should not go away, they should instead stay behind and make sure their vote is secure. Now the Electoral Commission said they will be having enough election protectors, that no one is needed and no one is allowed to be near these polling stations after they have cast in their vote, that no one should stay there, and that whoever tries to stay there is likely to face the worst. That is from the police, saying that the some polling stations are small and now it will be difficult for the Electoral Commission to carry out other processes post now casting, that if the people are there. Now the security forces may be triggered to push these people away. And he said that it is nowhere in the law where the people have to come and be there, that they are protecting the vote, that each candidate is given that freedom to bring in the people they trust so that they can be the agents and now protect their vote. Saying that that number is enough and no more protectors will be needed, and this now contradicts with the NUP call of the voters now staying at the polling station to protect the vote. Of course, the NUP was condemning some of these, saying that the people have a right to protect their vote and they can just withdraw a few meters from the demarcated grounds of the polling station where the other people may not access, and now staying a little bit behind, but making sure they observe everything that takes place there. Now the police, of course, had also hinted on that. We are waiting to see how this will go, whether now the people who want to protect their own vote to that extent will be given freedom to be there, or it will be different. But of course, the Electoral Commission has warned, saying that no one should dare stay there, because the polling stations, one, are not enough in size, that they are very small and congested, and again, that these protectors are already there. The election observers will be there. They are from even outside the country, and that there is no need for every citizen now becoming a vote protector in that manner. That was the Electoral Commission press conference and the message from the chairperson, Justice Simon Mgengi regarding the 2026 general elections. Of course, he talked about some of the numbers that they have. Now that the 2026 general elections, we are expecting over 21,681,491 voters. And in this, the women are the biggest in number. Of course, we have over 11,347,129, making 53%, meaning that women are the registered voters. Most 53% of them are women. And now the men are standing at 47%, the number being 10,334,362. That is some of the statistics that were given out by the Electoral Commission. Now, away from that, regarding this story that has been hitting headlines and even some people making it look like something fun. Regarding the Indian Ocean, after President Museveni had come out to say that Uganda is entitled to that ocean, that it does not belong to only Kenyans, it is for Uganda as well. Now there are some people, a group of business people here in Uganda, who have went to court saying that Kenya is violating their rights. So they went to court, the East African Court, seeking for justice regarding the freedoms, or that they need free access to this Indian Ocean. These people say that the Indian Ocean has been very difficult to access somehow, that there are laws that have been disrupting their trade, and they also said that they need clear guidelines. They need free access to the Indian Ocean to carry out their trade. They said still that they have been facing hard time carrying out trade there, especially during moments where there are riots in Kenya or even some wars, that they need now clear rules that should be now put in place to make sure that these Ugandan business people or the business community should have free access to the Indian Ocean and now do not have to suffer anymore while doing business there, regardless of the situation now in Kenya. That is it, the message from Moses Opolot, one of the officials leading these business people, said that during riots and wars, Uganda faces challenges, especially in trade, as now the new rules apply to these traders. They cannot clearly bring in their goods from outside, now bringing them to Uganda, and that now they need the East African Court to look into this matter and provide lasting solutions. Now back to the 2026 general elections. Yesterday, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the presidential candidate and flag bearer for the National Unity Platform, was in Buikwe. He was welcomed warmly. Thousands of people were there, and we was painted red, shouting "People power" everywhere, much as the police, of course, came in, and there was some sort of disruption here and there. We saw some police officers try to now reduce some of the people who were running after Kyagulanyi following this campaign team of Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Wherever he was going, the police tried to even stop some of them. This was difficult to do. Some people, of course, forced themselves and had to continue following Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. The police was triggered now to spread tear gas, but this did not stop thousands of people from following Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Some journalists, as you see on that screen, their cars were damaged. As you see on that, the window was hit. During that disruption over there, thousands still followed Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, and the police was trying to reduce the crowds that were following him, trying to guide them here and there. And now, of course, time reached and Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu was forced to get out of the car and now faced these police officers. He ran into one of the officers who was suspected to be the leader or the one commanding these security forces. They are asking them why they were spraying tear gas all over. But of course, the police was trying to ask these people to not follow Kyagulanyi where he was going. We saw him cry while seeing this situation. Honorable Kyagulanyi shed tears, and asked the Ugandans not to give up. But later on, the campaign was conducted, and he asked the people to now vote the National Unity Platform and now wait for the new Uganda under his leadership. In this race, he has other 8 people. Of course, he has to beat all of them, including the incumbent President Robert Kyagulanyi, who is the presidential now flag bearer for the National Resistance Movement. Somebody, Kyagulanyi says, has been a dictator and has to leave the Ugandans to enjoy their peace. Of course, the NRM team says they are here to protect the gains and no one has to scare them. Of course, President Museveni was in Kanungu and asking the people of that particular area and to vote him into office and protect the gains achieved by the National Resistance Movement government. Robert Kyagulanyi, also in the race, was in Kitgum and Lamo, and he is also the presidential flag bearer for the National Peasants Party. He had hard time with the police as well, here and there. The police trying to tell him to conduct his campaign rally somewhere different from where he wanted. But nonetheless, he asked the people of those particular areas of Kitgum and Lamo to vote him into office, saying that he will better this country and everything will move on well. And Nandala Mafabi was also in Rwelo, and he promised to compensate all those that were affected by the NRA bush war that took place in the 1980s. War that brought President Museveni in power. Of course, some people were saying that they never got compensation, they never benefited, much as they played a crucial role in bringing this government in power. They are saying that the NRM government has not rewarded them or compensated them. Now that they need, of course, another leader, and of course, Honorable Nathan Mafabi said he would do everything good to make sure they achieve their development. Now, in our international news, as I told you in the very beginning, the coup d'etat happened in Guinea Bissau following elections that took place there, and now the results were supposed to be released today, but this has not been able to be, this has not happened because the military took control in Guinea Bissau. Of course, this comes at a moment where the incumbent president, Umaro Sissoco Embalo, is seeking a second term, and he ran against opposition contender Fernando Diaz and 11 others. Now, these two, Fernando Diaz and the incumbent Umaro Sissoco Embalo, were seeking, of course, were in this race. They were the top in the race, but both of them had now declared themselves successful, each camp saying that they had won the elections, much as the Electoral Commission had not come out to say that this had won. Of course, the results were supposed to be released today, but none of them has had waited for these results. Every group had said they were the best. They had won the election. The camp of Diaz, Fernando Diaz, had said they won the election. The camp of the incumbent president, Umaro Sissoco Embalo, had said they had won as well. But of course, the results were to be released today by the Electoral Commission, and this now has not happened. The military has taken over, and they say they foresaw chaos happening in the country and that they could not wait. They had to come in. They say that the election had not been free and fair, and now they were not going to trust the results. Now the military coup has taken over in Guinea-Bissau. This is not the first time this is happening in Africa, and even particularly now in Guinea-Bissau, it has been happening for more times, and now the question remains why this happens. And that will be part of the things we'll talk about in a discussion here. I'll be having our guest, and we shall be looking at some of these, what is causing these military coups in Africa, how are they a threat to rule of law, as well as some of this strong topic of the global commons, where now countries are having conflicts over these global commons or resources that are shared by all countries, regardless of the jurisdictions from any particular country, or resources you may say are for all people, now including the Indian Ocean that President Museveni has been talking about and saying that it could lead to a war soon from now if nothing happens. Now, that is those are some of the things we'll be talking about in the discussion, but for now, the Mighty Global News Updates marks the end. We'll be coming in here shortly with our guest. Don't go away. Tap that like button and share to a friend. Good morning for now.